What's up, everybody? It's Harley from EpicTubeHD back at you with another epic video. We got another reaction video for you. I have to do it, but this is around a specific topic that gets thrown around quite a bit, and
Reprints.
most recently from a channel that I started tuning into a lot more and listening to, and it is NostalgiaNomics. What I want to do is really discuss and break down things that were said in his video, because I think it's really important from these investor style YouTube channels. Doesn't mean they're right, and I'm gonna show you guys what we're talking about right now. Let's get into this. So the big thing I want to discuss, it's this word called
Reprints.
Now, NostalgiaNomics, who I came across after the OKJ Love stream that happened earlier this year, recently NostalgiaNomics did this video about reprints and discussing them. Now, the big problem that I have, there's quite a bit of hypocrisy going on in this video, and what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and play the video. We're going to break down what he's saying, but let's go ahead and start the video and get this going, guys.
Folks, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about everyone's favorite subject to discuss in the entire hobby, reprints. Oh, I'm not joking. It doesn't matter if you go to a business channel, investing channel, collecting channel, drama channel, pack ripper channel, they're talking about reprints.
So the big question here is, what does Alex, that's his name, NostalgiaNomics, what does he consider his channel? As far as I'm aware, he considers his channel an investor channel. So first thing I want to say is, and it's something I've been saying now for a long time, long time, okay? And that is, I feel every channel that's an investor channel that's giving any type of advice or discussing the hobby in those terms needs to have a disclaimer at the very beginning of their channel, so that they can indicate what they are about to discuss and people are informed on what they're about to listen to. Because, you know, without it, you just assume that this person, you know, first of all, he's shown his background. Look, I'm a mega collector here. This is what's really big behind me, but I want to show you guys I'm a collector. But in reality, he's talking about investing. My number one pet peeve is these channels need to start having a disclaimer at the beginning of the channel. And this kind of delves into the whole big issue I have with investor channels, and that is, you have all these people who came into this hobby and they were basically in the stock market. Stock market crashed. It got hurt very bad over the past 4 years, and you have a lot of them who have moved here seeing that they can make a lot of money very fast, very quickly here, and there's a lot of influence they could have here. And the thing is, the stock market, which is often used as a comparison, which is kind of an unfair comparison, simply because the stock market is regulated. It is regulated. So there's not much that these people can get around. Yes, I understand there is some corruption that goes on. There's things that happen. But for the most part, the stock market is highly regulated. Trading is regulated, selling is regulated, information, which is the biggest thing, is usually it's regulated, unless you're from Congress, of course. But yeah, that's the big difference there. So when a company on Wall Street says something or does something, or a company that has stock in the Wall Street, they have to be extremely careful about what announcements they say, because it affects the stock market. The stock market affects your 401k, it affects other people's retirement, it affects people's investments, as NostalgiaNomics here is about to talk to in a little bit here. Let's continue.
And if they're not, the chats are, the comment sections are, the Discords are, the Instagrams, the Reddits, the TikToks, it doesn't matter where you go. Reprints are the main subject of conversation in the Pokemon hobby 2024. And to be honest with you, I've been in this hobby 9 years. Don't know how this happened. Never been a thing. Now, if we talked about reprints, have they always came and we always discussed them? Of course. But it's never been this relevant of a subject to be discussed every day, day in and day out, to exhaustion.
Well, there's a pretty simple reason for that. Because like he said, prior to 2020, this really wasn't a discussion. In fact, the big issue was over stock. of Pokemon cards, especially the XY era. I've been in this as well for a very long time. I got back into Pokemon back in 2015 with my kids. That's the whole reason why I got back into Pokemon. And so I have been paying attention since then to the prices and the style of the cards, and how much has been out there. And I think the big thing he's not really saying right now, the reason why this is being discussed so much is all these stock people have come into this hobby to make money. Simple as that. Everyone sees a way to make money, the hustle, right? And so that's why everyone's talking about it, because it affects everyone's portfolios.
As almost like we're going to discuss this in length today. This is going to be a longer video.
Also want to make a quick note. Now, he was very wrong recently on a video. Again, this will be my second time covering him. He was very wrong on a TCG player video, and it did get taken down, but only after there was discussions with another YouTube channel, and well-respected YouTube channel. But they did take the video down, which I think was the proper thing to do, because if you're giving out misinformation, the only people that are going to regulate it in this hobby is us. It's self-regulation. So let's get on.
In parts. But I'm going to talk through everything you need to know when it comes to reprints in Pokemon and other TCGs.
Okay, so you heard what he said. He acknowledged reprints. He's going to talk about reprints and how they go on in other TCGs. So just again, pay attention.
And understand the nuances of it. And also, we're going to talk about understanding your own goals, what you're trying to accomplish in this hobby, which is going to change the way you actually approach these things. We're also going to talk about Pokemon and how companies can pivot and change the way they do things over time. Not saying they 100% are, but we're going to talk about that possible scenario.
So he says here, he basically gives this thought that Pokemon is pivoting, but then he kind of backtracks and says, well, no, who says they are? Well, maybe they're not, but we're going to talk about it.
And we're going to talk about some of the things that have been happening with like restocks elsewhere outside of distribution and retail LGS stores.
Very curious about this one. He's going to talk about outside distribution, which is interesting, because that's kind of one of the main topics I'm going to be pointing out in this video. But let's listen in.
And we're just going to talk about things and kind of air out some things, kind of get rid of any misinformation, bypass any emotional information, emotional responses that people have based on if they own the items, if they don't own the items. Obviously, you guys know I invest heavily in sealed products. I buy and sell singles and slabs. And so you could always say, well, Alex, you have a bias because you have an inventory of this stuff.
Okay, now here's why I give him credit first. First credit I'm going to give him. This is kind of a disclaimer. However, we are 2 minutes into the video. I still think the disclaimer should be at the very beginning of the video when people first tune in, and it should definitely be in a description somewhere, what you're discussing on your channel.
Sure, you could always say that, but I'm giving you my...
And then here's where I think this is kind of funny. It's like, yes, you could say I'm being biased, but I'm going to give you my honest opinion. So trust is a huge factor in this world, and especially on YouTube. You have to be able to trust the people that are talking and giving advice.
Are you trying to run a business? Are you trying to grade and flip slabs? Are you trying to, flip singles? Are you trying to, either run a business, run a side business, and use your money as effectively as possible every single day? Or are you trying to treat this more like a 401k or another form of long-term investing, where you let things grow over time? Because that's really gonna change the answer to what you're going to do and how you approach this hobby moving forward.
So let's put it this way. A long-term investor is Rudy from Alpha Investments. Someone who's buying by the pallets, not by the cases, by the pallets. Those are long-term investors. And Rudy discusses this in his videos often, that a real long-term investor person is going to be buying quite a bit, and it's going to be sitting on it, and you won't even know how much they really have. As Rudy recently mentioned in a video that he did on his warehouse, the only checks and balances we have in this world, in this hobby on YouTube, is ourselves. This is a non-regulated hobby where people are making a lot of money without having to, worry about repercussions of lying, giving misinformation, manipulation, things like that. Let's go.
That's one thing you have to decide for yourself. I can't make that decision for you. Now, to squash any type of rumors out there, no, there are absolutely no reprints announced. Pokemon Company has not announced any English reprints. None of the distributors have any information about reprints. There is absolutely no reprints on the books as we speak, September 2024.
He is 100% correct here. This is where, he said it. He knows it. There is no reprint information. Pokemon has never divulged their reprint information. Even during the Wizards of the Coast era, there are a lot of rumors because there was some leaks regarding print information on the earlier sets, but they've never, ever announced it. The only time they've ever announced a reprint was in Japan. Different culture, a whole different beast over there, but they've never announced English reprints, ever. There's never been information. No distributor, and I have spoken to people in the industry, there is no information.
Now, we are heading into what's known as reprint season. Oh my god! Everything's getting reprinted, everything's going to zero.
Now, he's being sarcastic here. I get that. He's being sarcastic.
Everything you got, don't buy a single thing yet. I'm kidding. But yeah, normally we do see more items get reprinted, going into the holiday season.
He's clearly talking, in fact, as he's discussing this, about reprints.
End of the year, fall and winter, and so yes, we could see sets finally get reprinted in Pokemon. Now, if you guys don't know, the only set in the Scarlet Violet era to receive an official reprint, meaning Pokemon printed it, it went to distributors distributed it to stores and LGSs, and then they sold to the public, their customers. The only set to go through that process so far has been Scarlet Violet base set, I think over a year ago now.
Okay, first, let's talk about this. They did not announce a year ago they were reprinting. There's no such thing. What they gave to distributors was that there was going to be additional stock coming of 151. There was never an announcement. They were reprinting. Even PTCG Radio, Ross, okay, the Rosie, even he talked about it.
It seems that over in Japan there has been a pretty gosh darn sizable reprint of Scarlet and Violet 1, that is to say, Scarlet and Violet base.
Basically, distribution was going to get a last dump of what Pokemon Company was holding on to. In order to receive that restock, you were going to have to buy other goods with it. So I think it was a way of just cleaning out the house for a lot of people, from the Pokemon Company to distributors. Distributors are holding a lot of product. So it was never confirmed, so we need to make sure we have that understood. Show me where it says Pokemon Company said they reprinted. They did not. Do your due diligence and look, you will not find it. Again, was not said a reprint. So that's information, again, that should be conveyed, properly, should be conveyed factually, and it's not by an investor channel. But let's continue.
And other than that, there's been these restocks, which goes into what I mean is, it seems to be they're releasing a lot more product through different channels of distribution outside of the initial distributing to distributors, and then they distribute it to stores and they sell to the public, at retail, at their LGSs or online. Pokemon has been selling product, it looks like, to stores like Costco, to stores like Walmart, Sam's Club, even on Amazon, and they've even been restocking their own site, the Pokemon Center, with products that were otherwise out of stock before that, and they've been out of stock in distributors, and no one has them, but then Pokemon Center has, all of a sudden has them in stock. So it does seem like they are moving in channels outside of regular distribution, and what I'm talking about is the 151 UPCs, the huge amount that showed up at Costco for the longest time, or the Crown Zenith products that showed up at Sam's Club, or we have the 151 booster bundles showing up on Walmart.com, or we have a whole slew of products on Pokemon Center come back in stock after being out of stock for the longest time, products that are, 2-3 years old. And so this can spell some trouble for people that are dependent.
Okay, so let's break this down, what he's saying right now. He is saying that the Pokemon Company seems to be going over everybody and getting product out directly to these other retail avenues. Here is where he is wrong, and he has not done his due diligence. He should have, before he did this, He should have done a little bit of research, and he should have done his homework before he said this. Again, I hold him accountable. I hold investor channels a lot more accountable for things that they say, because they're literally a channel who's growing based on their advice. And therefore, if you're going to give the advice, it better be damn right. And I'm going to show you right now why he is not right. Okay?
What I mean is, it seems to be they're releasing a lot more product through different channels of distribution outside of the initial distributing to distributors, and then they distribute it to stores and they sell to the public, at retail, at their LGSs or online.
What other way could they be distributing? What other channels other than them going over their usual distribution channels? I don't know how else to take that other than they're just bypassing distribution and they're just sending it directly to the stores themselves. That's kind of what I'm getting from it.
Pokemon has been selling product, it looks like, to stores like Costco.
See, he does say it. Pokemon is selling, it looks like Pokemon is selling product to stores like, he goes on to name them.
To stores like Walmart, Sam's Club, even on Amazon, and they've even been restocking their own site, the Pokemon Center, with products that were otherwise out of stock before.
And yes, he is absolutely correct. They have been restocking their own Pokemon Center warehouse where they get their own product from. That is true.
Before that, and they've been out of stock at distributors, and no one has them, but then Pokemon Center has, all of a sudden has them in stock.
I'm going to show you the evidence that he's wrong. And we're going to start off with, first, I'm going to show you a phone call that I had with an unnamed major big box retailer. And I'm going to keep the name out for reasons of security. But this is a phone call that I had with a major company. Go.
The membership department, since this is, because it looks like it's an online item, is that correct?
It's an in-person
item.
Well, it's an in-person item.
So I'm seeing as a vendor, it's showing Legacy Retail Solution. Does that help you?
Yeah. Okay. So that's Legacy. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what we're trying to get at, is where we know two of the companies for sure provide product, and then we know it's repackaged. All right. So you just heard it. The big box store is a headquarters for a big box store just confirmed that they do not get their product from the Pokemon company. They get it from Legacy Solutions, which is a company that does handle third-party vendor merchandise. So let's go and take a look at that real quick here. Pull the website up. We have Legacy, the Traverse Group. Today, our portfolio represents 650 plus million in retail sales under management across many categories and departments. In 2015, we launched our own branded product division and now enjoy a direct vendor partner relationship with many of the leading retailers today, such as Walmart, Costco, Home Depot, and Target, to name just a few. And there it is, right there. A little tiny bit of research, everybody, just went a really, really long way. And this is one of the things I've been talking about when it comes to these channels, these investor channels, giving advice or talking about the hobby in an investor stock market kind of way. They need to be very accurate in what they're saying. I mean, again, you can get around by double speaking, being hypocritical, trying to cover by backtracking, but ultimately you do have a responsibility to give correct information. This is my biggest issue with investor channels. Again, I like Alex, don't know him personally, never met him. I've only started watching over this year. Well, there's our checks and balance.
This can spell some trouble for people that are depending on reprints to move into their positions or to buy more products at lower prices, because there's a possibility this could be more of the new norm. The way that Pokemon moves is less massive reprints through distributors and more kind of movement of product onto the market.
So here he continues to use the term reprints. This is inaccurate. If you make a mistake of saying reprints when you mean restock, well, then you got to reshoot the video. take the video down, because it's just irresponsible to leave up, because people are getting the wrong information. And again, as an investor channel, people are listening to you and making moves based on things that you're saying, and you're growing your channel because you're giving that information. You know you're growing your channel because of that. You need to be very accurate about it. But he continues to it just gives mixed signals about what's going on here, but he's completely wrong in these terms. Now, what he is right about is that, yes, reprints are going to have a major effect on one's portfolio, one's standing in the investment world as far as Pokemon goes, or One Piece, or Magic, whatever hobby you're into, right? Reprints will always do that, but we're not reprinting. They're restocking. You're buying under the notion that a set has released and this company, there's no more going to come after this. And you're gambling. You're completely gambling by hoping nothing else drops. And therefore, you're going to be sitting on a gold mine. But the reality is, Pokemon prints so many cards, and we already have, years prior card printing statistics. Now that has come forward. That does get put out to the public. So they're printing a lot from the get-go. So whenever they have their window for printing, which from my understanding is from 6 months to a year in advance, so they're printing everything for that set at that moment of printing. Okay, from there they've already got the printers scheduled for the next sets moving forward. They don't have time to stop and go, we need to throw in here, we're gonna short print this set, we're gonna backtrack and reprint one. They don't do that. That's how they operate, because again, they are a public company. It's a public IP. They do have to abide by rules and regulations. Okay, they cannot just go on YouTube and not have to worry about any type of regulatory hearings on, yes, NostalgiaNomics, he is going to Congress today to testify on why he gives that doesn't happen. And that's why this is the wild, wild west of stock trading. YouTube is not just our hobby, it's many other hobbies that are in this same predicament right now. But being that we're in Pokemon, this is what we're discussing.
We're moving into the 11th set in Scarlet Violet era, right? 8 mainline sets and then 3 specialty sets. This means Pokemon has to continue to print all the sets they print a year, 4 mainline sets, 3 specialty sets, a Halloween set, McDonough set, whatever other sets they print. They have to continue to keep up with that schedule, and they would have to go back and reprint 10 sets if you take out Scarlet Violet base. 10 sets while doing that. It seems unlikely at this point. I'm just going to throw it out there. It seems unlikely we're going to see reprints for every single set. Now, we can speculate on which sets.
See, here he goes again. He said earlier in the beginning of the video that Pokemon has never announced reprints, but then he just continues to talk through the video, in fact, about reprints.
Might see reprints based on popularity, based on prices, but as of now, I would say it's pretty unlikely that we're going to see reprints for every single set. That's going to make some people unhappy. They're going to leave the dirty comment right now and say Alex is trying to shill, Alex is trying to pump up his investments, Alex is trying to cause FOMO.
Well, I don't know what else Alex is trying to do with this video, because he talked about misinformation, he talked about no reprints then reprints, he's talked about all these things. He's told you he's an investor, his specialty is in sealed collecting. I don't know what his goal, which is what he said he wanted to talk about in the beginning of this video for you and I. At this point, you don't really leave much room for people to think, and having influence, having a YouTube channel or any other social media avenue where you're influencing other people.
That's the reprint scenario of how it stands to this point.
That's the reprint scenario as it stands at this point. But he's not saying there's a reprint scenario, but he's said reprint, in fact, several times here in the beginning of this video. All right, so based on that last bit, we're gonna call it a day, because we're pretty long in this video already. I have to edit it, so woo, there's a lot going on, Alex. There's a lot going on. Again, I feel like for someone who has a channel, it's based on investing, You're not giving, your data is just all over the place. Again, you're using the term reprint when you've admitted that they've never once said there's a reprint. They never came out with Scarlet and Violet or Sword and Shield saying there's a reprint. That never happened. That was speculation because, again, people just assumed. You know, this is you saying things that are not true as an investor channel while you're trying to tell people how they should invest or give them advice on how they invest. I just think that's a very negative when it comes to that. But I pretty much said what I wanted to say in this video. Guys, if you thought anything that I'm saying is wrong, let me know down below. If you think what I'm saying is right, let me know below. And that's going to do it for today's video. I appreciate it. Make sure to give this video a like if you did like it, and subscribe to the channel for more epic content, guys. As always, have more epic adventures with us here at EpicTubeHD. Peace out, everyone. See you guys.